Over the weekend, some new cards have been reviewed in Japan for their upcoming set Surging Sparks, and in this video we will go over the more important ones and how they fit into the current meta. So for us English card users, it will be in the November set Surging Sparks, yes, the one with Pikachu on its cover. So of course, the first card we will talk about is Pikachu EX. 200 HP Lightning type Terra. It has an ability that says if Pikachu EX has full HP and gets knocked out by damage from an attack, it doesn't get knocked out but has 10 HP remaining. Do take note that it has to be from damage from an attack, so effects of attacks like Roaring Moon EX's Frenzied Gouging still knocks it out. Very useful ability, makes up for its low HP. Its attack does 300 damage for 1 leaf, 1 lightning, and 1 steel energy, and at the end of the attack, you discard 3 energies attached to Pikachu EX. Straight away you think of using it in a Miraidon EX deck. As of now, the only basic Terra Lightning Pokemon that you can summon out using Miraidon EX's ability is Mewtwo EX, and because of its heavy retreat cost, it can become a liability on the bench. Pikachu EX can be very useful in a Miraidon EX deck because number 1, it's a Terra Pokemon, which means with Area 0 Underdepths, you can increase your bench size to 8 and increase Raikou V's damage. And number 2, because of its ability, your opponent cannot boss it out for an easy 2-price knockout. Pikachu EX can operate as its own deck as well because of its attack, but does need some setting up due to the different types of energies needed. And that brings us to our next card, which is Magnemite Magneton and Magnezone. And we will only briefly talk about Magnezone because most people won't be playing it. First attack makes your opponent's active Pokemon confused and cannot retreat. Second attack does 180 damage and cannot be used during your next turn. But the better card is Magneton. Its ability allows you to KO itself and search for 3 basic energies of different types and attach them to your lightning Pokemon any way you like. So this is one way to charge up your Pikachu EX. KO your Magneton, use it to charge Pikachu EX and KO a 2-prizer, and because a full HP Pikachu EX can take 2 hits, you can charge it up again using another Magneton to deal 300 damage again to exchange 2 prizes for 4. Next up, we have an Ace-Spec Miracle Intercom. It's an item card that allows you to choose 2 supporter cards from your discard pile and put them in your hand. Pretty useful, but would you use your Ace-Spec slot in your deck for a card like this? I don't think so. There's a power pad in the format and cards like Luminion V and Noctowl to search for supporters, so I honestly don't see this Ace-Spec being used too much. Terrapagos is an interesting card, very useful in turn 1. Its first attack allows you to search your deck for up to 3 basic energies of different types and attach them to your Terra Pokemon in any way you like, and the second attack just does 100 vanilla damage. Very useful in turn 1 going second, but probably useless outside of it. I don't think it's worth putting 3 to 4 copies of this card in your deck, but if you don't put that many, it can be very hard to have it in your first turn. So to be honest, I'm not fully convinced by this card. Next up, we have 2 stadiums, with the first being Exciting Stadium. Basic Pokemon in play get 30 HP more. This applies for both you and your opponent, so do take note. Decks with big basics like Raging Bolt EX can benefit from this, but is it better than existing ones? Miraidon EX and Terrapagos EX both need Area 0 Underdepths, and Roaring Moon EX needs Pokestop, so the only possible deck this stadium can add value to is Raging Bolt EX. But Pokestop is really good in that deck as well, so I don't see this stadium being played in it. Control perhaps? An additional 30 HP can help for your Snorlaxes and Rotom Vs. Next up is Gravity Mountain, which says Stage 2 Pokemon, both yours and your opponents, get minus 30 HP. Very good against Charizard EX and Dragapult EX, both of which are doing very well now. I do see Pikachu EX players using this to KO all Pokemon between 300 and 330 HP. But similarly to the Exciting Stadium, Is it better than what we already have? Time will tell. Next up is TM Fluoride. For Leaf, Water, and Psychic Energy, you discard all energy from this Pokemon and then heal all damage from your Terra Pokemon. Healing all damage is great, but the cost to do that is really difficult to fulfill. So unless there are more cards to charge 3 different energies easily, I don't see this TM being played. The next card is really good, and that is Cyrano. Search your deck for up to 3 Pokemon EX, review them and put them in your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. So many decks can use this card. Need both Charizard EX and Pikachu EX on the same turn? Need to flood your bench but only have 1 Miraidon EX in your deck? Cyrano is here to help. Very versatile. I do see this card being played in many decks. We now move on to the cards reviewed on day 2, first of which is Tsuggiri EX. First attack is a 100 damage threat, nothing to shout about. Second attack allows you to look at the top 10 cards of your deck and summon any number of Pokemon you find there onto your bench. Very useful attack, especially considering you can summon non-basic Pokemon as well. But the cost to use this attack can be very pricey to pay. Using 3 different energy types for an attack that does 0 damage just to summon multiple Pokemon onto your bench might not be that worth it. Don't get me wrong, the attack is really good, but it may be very difficult to number 1, pay the energy cost, and 2, to summon the Pokemon you want might not be worth it. Next up, we have Slacking EX. Its ability says if your opponent has no EX or V Pokemon in play, it cannot attack, so it's useless against single price decks. But if your opponent does have V or EX Pokemon, its attack can deal 280 damage for just 2 colorless energy. With DTE, it's 260 damage for just 1 energy card. At the end of your attack, discard 1 energy from this Pokemon, which is a small price to pay for a 340 HP Pokemon and the low energy cost attack. Could see some play. We also have Togekiss. Its ability Wonder Kiss allows you to flip a coin whenever you knock out an opponent's Pokemon. If hit, you take an extra prize card. And if you have multiple Togekisses in play, you can only use Wonder Kiss once. That's reasonable. My verdict, taking extra prizes is always good, but having to flip for it, not so much. Can possibly win you some games, but if you have to depend on flipping hits to win a game, it's not going to be in the top decks. We move on to Hydron EX next. Dino with 1 energy can discard 1 card from your opponent's deck. Zuelas discards 2, Hydron EX discards 3 and deal 200 damage. Hydron EX's second attack does 130 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon and another 130 to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. I do see this being played for either of its attacks, which are both good. You can either mill your opponent or charge it up quickly for spread damage. Your opponent has to bench a Manaphy in case you knock out 3 of their Pokemon with your second attack, and you can then boss it out, use a Gravity Stone or any other way to increase Manaphy's retreat cost and then start milling them out. Jasmine's Gaze allows all your Pokemon to receive 30 less damage during your opponent's next turn. Could come in handy especially in stall decks or tanky decks, but other than that, probably won't see much play, I suppose. The last card reviewed was Cobra Berry, which says the Pokemon this card is attached to takes 60 less damage from Dark type Pokemon, and after the attack you discard this card. The immediate reaction to this is you can reduce Charizard EX's attack. 60 damage can be the difference between winning and losing a game, so this card could come in handy. We do have to see if there are more Dark types in the meta other than Charizard EX, Roaring Moon EX, and the Loyal Tree, or if Charizard EX remains as dominant to warrant putting this card in your deck. Definitely a difference maker when you use it. The only question is whether you meet enough games or enough scenarios to use it. Alright, that's all for the cards reviewed over the weekend. Very nice cards, I would say. The shift to multicolored energies and Terra Pokemon is refreshing and a challenge that I would love exploring. Let me know what you feel about our new cards. Thanks for watching. Sending you lots of love. See you in the next video.